Okay, take a look at this. It's one of the oldest and most massive stone structures on the entire planet, the Great Enclosure Wall of King Djoser, built almost 4,700 years ago. It's an incredible monument of power and precision, but as we're about to see, it's so much more than just a wall. It's a machine with a truly spectacular secret.
First off, you just have to appreciate the scale. This wall runs for more than a mile, wrapping around a giant 40-acre complex. And dotted along this massive structure are 15 enormous, incredibly elaborate gateways. This thing was absolutely built to impress.
And right away, that brings us to the central mystery. Because of those 15 grand entrances, only one of them actually works. The other 14 are solid stone. They're beautiful, elaborate fakes that lead absolutely nowhere. Now, this wasn't some mistake or an unfinished job. It was completely intentional. So the question is, why on earth would they do that?
To even begin to understand this, we've got to look at how the wall was built. Its unique style, well, that's our first big clue.
The entire wall is built in a style that we now call palace-façade. And what's so fascinating about this is that it's all stone, but it's designed to look like something else entirely. All those panels and grooves are meant to copy the look of even earlier royal buildings, which were made from bundles of reeds and mud brick. So you have this incredible statement of power and permanence, solid stone imitating an older, much more organic tradition.
And this drawing just shows the pattern perfectly. You can see that constant rhythm of recessed panels and jutting sections, creating this mesmerizing play of light and shadow. It's a really complex, textured design, and it was meant to tell you that you were looking at a royal and maybe even a divine space. And to put that perimeter, all 1,645 meters of it, into perspective, it's more than 4 times the length of a modern running track. Just walking all the way around this complex would have been a serious journey, really hammering home its sheer size to anyone who approached it.
And it wasn't just long, it was tall. We're talking 10.5 meters, or about 30 feet. That's as high as a modern 3-story building. So this wasn't just a barrier. It was this imposing cliff of white limestone, built to separate the sacred world inside from the ordinary world outside.
Okay, now let's zoom in on the features carved into this wall, because the numbers here are anything but random. They are a code.
So here's the crucial part. The doors had 2 different jobs. There was one real entrance, kind of tucked away in a corner, for the living priests to use during rituals. But those 14 false doors, they were for a completely different user, the king's spirit, what the Egyptians called the Ka. They were eternal portals, letting the king's soul move between our world and the afterlife.
All right, let's add another number to this puzzle. The wall isn't flat, right? It's punctuated by these projecting towers or bastions. And if you were to go and count every single one of them, you'd find there are exactly 196.
And here is where it all clicks into place. 196 is no random number. It's precisely 14 multiplied by 14. The number of spiritual portals, squared, gives you the number of bastions. This is a deliberate mathematical message. The architecture itself is speaking a language of numbers.
But, that's just the code you can see from a distance. The wall's biggest, most incredible secret is hidden in a detail so small it's been overlooked for thousands of years.
So, what if we've all been looking at the wrong scale? I mean, the doors and the bastions are huge, they're obvious. But what about the thousands upon thousands of small, recessed panels that make up that palace facade decoration itself?
So let's just step back for 1 second and think about the whole point of this complex. It was for the king's resurrection. Now, the ancient Egyptian mummification ritual, that secret process of preparing the king for the afterlife, took a very specific amount of time. It lasted exactly 70 days. And how many hours are in 70 days? Well, the math is simple. 70 times 24 gives you 1,680 hours. And here is the absolutely stunning reveal. According to the researcher Lance Darnell, if you count every single one of the recessed niches covering the entire surface of Djoser's mile-long wall, you get the exact number, 1,680. One niche for every single hour of the mummification process. This is what Darnell calls the Osiris clock. It's not just a wall, it's a ritual timer, carved in stone. The entire monument is a machine, designed to track and to power the king's 70-day transformation from a mortal king into an eternal god. Every hour of that sacred process was physically marked by a niche on his resurrection machine.
And this isn't just some clever coincidence.
That number, 1680, resonates all through ancient Egyptian cosmology, tying this wall to festivals, to measurements, and even to geometry.
The connections here go so deep. The niches themselves are about 17 cubits high. That's an ancient unit of measurement. Well, the number 17 connects directly to the 17-day core period of the great festival of Osiris, the god of resurrection. Even the geometry lines up. The number 168, a tenth of our total, is the interior angle of a 30-sided polygon, a key shape in the base 60 mathematics they use to track time and the stars. It's all part of one single cosmic system.
And this quote from the pyramid text just captures the goal of this entire thing perfectly. The transformation into an Akh and a Ku, these glorified, powerful spirits. The wall was a tool, a machine, to guarantee that divine journey.
So, the main takeaway is this. We started with what looked like a massive stone wall with a strange design and a whole lot of fake doors. But once we decode its numbers, from the 14 gates all the way down to the 1,680 niches, we see it for what it truly is, a monumental architectural clock designed for one purpose, to power the resurrection of a king.
And that just leaves you with this one final, compelling thought. We look at these incredible structures, and we call them tombs or temples, but if a wall can be a clock, an actual engine for rebirth, what other complex data, what other hidden functions are encoded in the dimensions of the ancient world, just sitting there, waiting for us to find the key?